Good morning, everyone. Looks like we've got folks joining right now. We got some additional people
Morning.
coming in from the waiting room. Real quickly, if you folks can be sure to mute yourself until we reach the Q&A portion of the event, that would be fantastic. We'll just want to make sure that we minimize disruptions during the informational part of this presentation here. A few things I want to go ahead and note as well is that we are recording today's session. So if there's anything that you want to go back and take a look at after the live session takes place, you will have the ability, again, to view that on the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel under the Virtual Job Fairs playlist. I will also place that URL in the chat for you too, so you have access to that directly. Today, we have Jyoti Rao with us to present from Illinois Tollway. She's going to present on a little bit on the agency's background, some of the positions that they have open and available, and what next steps look like for you folks as job seekers. So, without further ado, I would like to go ahead and turn things over to her to present.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for your time and wanting to learn a little bit more about careers with the Illinois Tollway. I will go ahead and I have just a couple of slides just to kind of give a brief overview of the agency and our hiring process. And then I'm just really excited to connect with you all to answer any questions. All right. Okay. So again, my name is Jyoti Rao. I am the Pipeline Partnership Liaison with the Illinois Tollway. I work with our talent acquisition team to support with recruitment, our internship programs, and also kind of community partnership events, job seeker preparation, mock interview support, things like that. I've been with the agency a little under 4 years, about 3 years and 9 months now, and served in this role, and very excited at this opportunity to connect with you all to talk about our agency and the current hiring opportunities. So I mean, I think that most of us here are familiar with the Tollway, but just a quick overview. The Tollway has 5 roadways, so in 12 different counties it's served. It's 294 miles in total, and you can see outlined here the 5 different roadways. The main goal of the agency is to provide and promote a safe and efficient system of highways, while also ensuring safety and service for customers. And we are separate from the Illinois Department of Transportation. The Illinois Tollway is a user fee system, so no state or federal tax dollars are used to support the maintenance and operation of the tollway system. So only those users who use the system pay for the system. Quick overview again, before we dive into the current openings. The Tollway's organizational structure is actually 16 departments. So when I go through that with job seekers and individuals and letting them know there's 16 departments at the agency, sometimes that is a surprise for folks. So definitely wanted to call your attention to all the different departments here, and hopefully this kind of, maybe you can start to envision where your work experience would be related to these areas. All of these departments work closely together. There isn't one that's like more siloed than the other. There's an insane amount of cross departmental collaboration and communication happening within all of these teams. And so I'm excited to kind of deep dive into a couple of them, which have current openings, but I'm happy to talk more about future openings as well if you have questions on them. So as stated earlier, the focus and mission really of the agency is to provide safe and efficiency in the system, and also highest possible level of customer service. And a great example of that you'll see here is the cashless tolling. So that does provide the safe and efficient travel for folks across the entire system. And actually 90%, more than 90% of Tollway customers use the iPass or EasyPass to pay for tolls now. Another example of kind of that safety area is the Tim's to Go mobile incident response tool. That's through our traffic and incident management team. And that includes the cameras, the roadway sensors, just an incredible amount of high and highly specific technology that goes into the hands of our traffic and incident managers. So this is a new app, Tims to Go, that lets them use any like handheld device, tablet, or laptop to instantly look at video, get a response needed for emergency services, and just all others who respond to toll road incidents. And then, of course, our customer service is top priority. So whether on the road, online, on the phone, there are help trucks ready to provide customers with roadside assistance, tire, gas support, things like that. And then actually last year, the Tollway's help trucks patrolled, I think it was 1.2 million miles. So they're patrolling 1.2 million miles and helped just under 30,000 customers in just last year. And that's ranging, support with like flat tires, as I mentioned, running out of gas, guilty of that. Kind of sometimes too often on E, so that happens, or jump starts, which certainly, the team's going to be preparing for that as we get into the winter season. And then also with our environmental responsibility and sustainability plans. It's definitely proven at the agency through building green efforts. It's really important to minimize environmental impacts, figuring out water mitigation plans, really just working with the local partners, forest preserves to figure out how do we reduce waste, recycle. Within this team, that encompasses our planning department, our engineering department, and they have to really work together with these villages to identify what are the best ways that we can, if we're taking out this certain amount of land, trees, et cetera, where are we putting it back? And so we have environmental, scientists and teams and geographic information systems folks that work with the Tollway for those plans. Quickly rolling through here. And now, with my role being in human resources, it's centered around people, right? The human impact. And what's I find really great about working here at the Tollway is it's just an organization that truly welcomes and accepts employees of all backgrounds. I think just being in public service and government agencies, that's naturally ingrained in the culture. So definitely an inclusive workplace really represents the value in having diverse teams. Actually, in 2023, the agency's demographics include just under 40% minority employees, and then 6.6% individual disabilities, and 4% of veterans. And actually, what's unique about the agency is there are many union roles, and actually just under 75% of employees are union employees. We also work really hard to develop strategic partnerships with agencies and organizations that are focused on workplace diversity. So that's community professional groups, advocacy agencies. There is unconscious bias training that is very helpful to remind everyone of like recognizing bias in all things, but specifically the hiring process. And then of course, always looking for ways to increase access to opportunities to these great jobs here at the agency for folks from underserved and underrepresented communities. And you can see here our Tollway employee numbers. So again, as I mentioned, there's 16 departments, there's all this work being done. And then when I say there's 1,200 employees who work here, I hope that number is exciting for you to consider ways that you can be involved and be part of this growing team. And again, just to continue on with the culture, especially growth and development, I know a big incentive right now and a big kind of draw for job seekers is, when I select a new opportunity, how would I grow? If I want to commit to this organization, invest my time, and, we do spend most of our days at work, you want to make sure it's worth it and you can see yourself growing in the way that works for you. And so there are various career professional paths here at the agency. There's a leadership skills development program that's for future managers. So it's a really exciting kind of internal growth training program for folks who are in new manager roles. LinkedIn Learning is accessible as well. And I know, maybe other companies offer this, but LinkedIn Learning truly is an incredible tool. It's a learning platform that the Tollway has a license for, and offers 16,000 courses. So, I've leveraged it for, there's a usage for Excel that I really needed to increase my skills on for some data tracking. And so just hopped on LinkedIn and did a couple of those virtual course modules. Were super engaging. And then I was able to really feel comfortable with using Excel in that particular way for data. So it's free, and employees are welcome to obtain new and relevant skills on a consistent basis. Tollway also offers internship and cooperative learning experiences for college students or recent alumni. And applications for those open in March, and the program begins in June. And that's a really great opportunity for entry-level candidates who are, pursuing college programs, whether it's certificate, associates, bachelor's. It's a great entry-level kind of workplace experience. And then, of course, being a state agency and state employee, benefits are fantastic. So here's just a few highlights here. This photo here is of our recent benefits fair, where we kind of focus on wellness with a yoga class. And just really promoting that health and wellness is also part of the culture. There's a lot of webinars. I think there was one just yesterday for Wellness Week. We partner with Aetna, which is the healthcare program. And they offer so many different webinars that take place, kind of over that lunch half hour, to really make sure that we're being mindful of our health. And of course, being a state employee, there is a state employee retirement system. Again, that's based on years of service. At this point is tier 2, which is 10 years. If you're new to state employment, 10 years of service to be eligible for pension. And then, of course, for that, it's just your final average compensation and wage is how pension is calculated. I already talked about the workplace wellness program, tuition reimbursement. I leveraged this when I was pursuing my MBA. So it's comparable, $5,250 annual. And then, of course, employee assistance program to focus on folks' health and wellness. In this program, actually, it's really unique because it also offers financial resources and legal support as well. Okay, so this certainly is a slide you're probably really interested to know about because it's very unique to state of Illinois agencies. So there's an application process called CMS. It stands for Central Management Services. So used throughout the state of Illinois agencies, which the Illinois Tollway is one of many. So typically how the process works is the job description is posted, and I'll share a couple of them and kind of go through them. Right now there's 5 openings. But one in particular I really want to talk with you all today about. So that's posted for a minimum of 10 business days. And I usually do see that around 10 to 14 days maximum. So the thing with the tollway positions is they're rapidly changing. So when I go to job fairs, I tell job seekers, hey, if these 5 roles are not of interest to you today, just stay tuned or check back on our website or sign up for the email subscription, because next week there's going to be all new positions, or in 2 weeks, brand new roles. But when the position closes, then usually within that next week or 2 weeks after the closing date is when a recruiter evaluates that particular candidate pool and goes through final selection process. Typically, they'll start with which of these applicants meet the minimum qualifications. That's just the basics, right? Minimum qualifications. A lot of the job descriptions will also say preferred qualifications. So sometimes if we get 150 applications, we want to kind of scale that down because it's a human being that reviews every single one. There's no robots, there's no kind of ATS system in that way. Sometimes the recruiter or talent acquisition specialist will focus on those preferred requirements first, as well as the minimum requirements, just to kind of lessen that pool of really focused qualified candidates. And so I always recommend, if you're kind of unsure, like, do I meet the qualifications? I don't know. It says 3 years of customer service experience. And my job title doesn't say it, but I did do customer service. Just do make sure that that is really highly pronounced in your application. So make sure that you're using the verbiage from the job description into, your work activities that you've done in the past roles. Because that's, again, it's human beings who are reviewing it. So we need to see that alignment. What's also helpful is in our applications, we do have supplemental questions. So, for example, if it says this, requirement 3 years customer service experience, one of the supplemental questions will say, this position requires 3 years of customer service experience. Do you have this? Yes or no? If yes, where? So again, the recruiter just focuses in on that answer. So if you just say see resume or yes, I do, or something like very kind of thin, just know that's, a challenge for the recruiter who's limited on time. Do they have the ability to go back and look at your attached resume, or your application? Yes, it is more than likely they will, but for the next candidate who writes a pretty strong paragraph response of yes, I have 3 years, here's what I did, here's where I worked, immediately, yes, let's move that person on to the manager's review. And those folks then after the manager reviews those candidates who are the kind of the top qualifying ones, then they'll select specific individuals for a virtual interview. And then we do have an interview tips video on our careers page. So do go check that out. It's 15 minutes recorded by yours truly, where we kind of cover some interviewing tips. After the interview, candidates are identified by the hiring panel, and they're forwarded to the manager for that final selection. Typically, there is some testing required. So one of the roles we have open right now, there is a testing that I'm going to talk about. And again, that's one more part of the process. Anything that's kind of a roadway or like a physical labor type of position incorporated in the work activity, definitely, plan on taking a weight bearing or kind of physical test as a requirement to qualify for that role. And then the candidate offers are approved by our HR leadership team. And then offer letters are generated and submitted to the candidates via email. And we have onboarding for new employees, typically the 1st and 13th of every month. And then we have had in the past where some requisitions, job postings have closed, but then for whatever reason, they were reopened. So you might see that. Sometimes that could happen if perhaps there wasn't enough qualified candidates, or there weren't enough interviews that were conducted, or maybe something was changed about the role. So there's kind of various reasons for doing that. So that's why it's really important to always stay on alert with our email job subscription. And I can, maybe share the link through the chat on how to do that. And then I'll also have our email that's in this slide as well, where you could follow up, or I'll send my email in the chat too. So now I just want to do a quick overview of the current opportunities, and then I would love to open it up for questions. So let me just grab this here. All right. So you should be seeing now the Illinois Tollway's career page. So this is where you'll find current opportunities. There's 5 positions open right now. Just click here on the menu page. And there are job opportunities. There's job categories. So as I mentioned, if you want to subscribe to automatic job alerts for different categories, this is where you'll do that. I can cover that later, but just so you know, that's where it's at. And this is a website for it. Our positions are not posted on the other website. I think it's Illinois, Work for Illinois. Governmentjobs.com is where Tollway positions are posted. So the one I really wanted to mention to you all, kind of just depends on where you reside, but most of the roles you'll see 60515, that's at Tollway's headquarters, Downers Grove. So most of the positions are going to be located there, but we've got unique ones now that are open, which are customer service representatives for the Oasis locations, or wherever there's an iPass business center. That's where you're meeting customers, processing their transactions, cash, credit card, looking up their accounts, things like that. So we've got those positions open in Lake Forest, in Waukegan, and then Midlothian as well. So I know, we do recruitment all over, right? Because we serve 12 counties. We want to make sure we're supporting 12 counties, even in employment opportunities. We want to have our, employees make up, the areas that we serve. And then also just support all different areas of Chicagoland, northeastern region of Chicago, to support great job opportunities. We want to bring you to the agency because, again, we went through the great benefits. Some of these salaries are fantastic, great growth opportunities. So we want people, who are motivated, who are ready to, hit the ground running, to get to work and provide amazing customer service and teamwork for getting our projects done. So I'll just share this one right now, because this again, it's the same position. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 are the exact same position. Okay, it's just the location is different. So if you wanted to put your application in a couple of them, just make sure you do use a separate application. And so this one here, I'll just dive into this. So Lake Forest and Lake Counties role. So you see the salaries here. The position does close on November 3rd at 11:59 p.m. So please do apply. It is a union role. And you can read through a great, job description here. This position, it does require 3 years minimum of customer service experience, but also cash handling experience is required. So a couple of job fairs I've talked with folks who have the customer service, but maybe they weren't handling cash, and that is a required component. But look at this. So whenever you see something like this, where there's numerical value, sometimes it's lifting 50 pounds or, 20, 35 words a minute. So if you see some numerical value, just know that that is really your indicator that there's going to be a test, an assessment test to qualify you for this, and which that is the case here. So you have to score 75% or higher on a particular typing test, which is proctored. So you will be notified this is your date and time to take this virtual test. And then you'll actually be monitored while you're taking the tests, and you'll get the results right away to see if you scored 75% or higher. Typically, if you can type about 45 words a minute, that's great. The accuracy is really important. There's many, I would really encourage you to look up some free online typing tests just to get used to doing that, because it's not a natural thing. Like we're used to just typing on our own or at our own speed, but this is an assessment test. So definitely try to practice beforehand. And again, there's 4 different opportunities based on location. And then this is a human resources role. So administration is my team, which is typically known in the agency as kind of the HR team. And this is a compensation analyst. So we could take a look at this one as well. Oops, sorry. This one basically is, as you can see, it's salary, so it's non-union. This is a closing date, so 1 day past the customer service rep. And it's an individual who really administers our compensation process. So evaluate the job description. You'll see the requirements here. Again, the talent acquisition specialist recruiter focuses on the requirements. Then they'll focus on preferred. They absolutely should meet the minimum, requirements of experience. Sometimes they'll look at the preferred, but most of the time, if it's a non-union position, really just those minimum requirements are going to be what gets you to the manager, who will then review that in further detail. Remember I was telling you about the supplemental questions? That's going to be found right here. So you can actually prepare ahead of time. So this one says, it's required to have 3 years of compensation experience. Do you meet this? If yes, where? So just make sure you detail that out. And so, yeah, so just again, one quick reminder is if these positions are not of interest, do not worry. And again, in a week or 2 weeks, brand new positions will be open. So if you go to the webpage here in that job categories site I mentioned, here's where you can sign up. There's 70 plus different categories. So if you just click through it, say you're interested more in dispatch roles and engineering teams, facilities, and then you just click on subscribe, and it'll ask for you to enter your email address. And then you go to your email and click verify. And then now you'll receive an email the next day any of these types of positions are posted. All right, so I will stop there. I know we've got 5 minutes left, but that was really the end of my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Jyoti, for that wonderful presentation. And we did get quite a few questions here in the chat. So we'll go ahead and, as I stated, pull from first come, first serve. First question that we do have here, and you did technically answer this, but it was, do you have any job for customer service positions available?
Yes. So that position, we actually only open it typically quarterly. So I'm so excited that it's open right now, especially in all the locations. Sometimes it's just one location. But yeah, we're definitely eager to see applications come through for that. And yes, it won't be open again for another couple of months. So please do apply.
Excellent. Thank you. And the next question that we did have here is, do you guys have internships?
Yes, we do. Check the website, the careers page. The applications for internships open in March next year, and they go from June to August. There are some that last the full year too. And they are paid internships. Next year it'll be $17 an hour, and they're part-time, totally flexible with your school schedule. Just not healthcare. We don't offer healthcare internships, but pretty much every other major is supported.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
And we did get a question here. I didn't see any roles on the page that you had shared with folks, but this individual asked, are there any jobs or entry-level jobs more specifically in cybersecurity? I'm assuming
Mhm.
those things probably open up periodically.
Periodically, yes, but even entry level, that's tough at the agency. I'll be honest. Typically, that's hard. I think a bit of a challenge, perhaps with kind of the way that IT team is really building out their teams. So there's cybersecurity analysts certainly at the agency right now, but those individuals do have several years of work experience. So I have referred folks to Department of Innovation Technology, have a great IT training program. Certainly consider our internship program because we do have an amazing cybersecurity intern right now. And so yeah, that's definitely a challenge I know for entry level folks in cybersecurity, but there's many opportunities outside of the agency as well as interns.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And another great question that came through here that would apply to many of these roles. Are the roles remote, hybrid, or in office?
Great question. Yes, we have 0 remote positions. They are all going to be in office on a hybrid schedule, really. So that's going to just depend on your team. Sometimes it could be once a week. Sometimes the customer service representative is 100% in office a whole week. Roles in human resources are hybrid. Again, can maybe once a week or so. So yes, unfortunately, no remote roles. And in office is going to be the Downers Grove location.
Excellent, thank you. And we did get another request here in the chat. Would it be possible to put the URL to the website with the job opportunities or openings that you had displayed?
Yes, absolutely. I will do that right now.
Excellent, thank you. And we did have another question come in here as well. It says, is there veteran preference within the application?
Oh, great question. There is, so with state of Illinois agencies, I know there's certain points allocated. So Tollway is not, there's not like a points allocated system, but yes. So there is I think it's called a reasonable preference for applications that come through and those who identify as veterans. With that role, depends on on kind of the position. But we see a lot of amazing candidates come through with fantastic transferable skills from military work experience and absolutely support that. There is a preference for applicants who are veterans. It's usually towards like when there is a top 3 or top, candidates there of looking at, what they can skills they bring to the position. But again, it's not a point system necessarily. As it is with other state agencies. It's more of that discussion that's had about the skills that they bring to the table.
Understood. Thank you so much for the information on that. And we did get another question in here as well. What would be the best means of getting a hold of you or the HR folks if folks did have any questions about the application process?
Yes, I'm the go-to. I do have a colleague, Alex Gomez, as well, but he's a recruiter and we are absolutely available to help. Let me put my email in the chat here. I support folks with the follow-up with the status of your application, any questions about the job posting, the location, work environment. That's my go-to. So that's my email there. And I'm also available by phone. 793. Put that in there for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that information. Folks, I just want to draw your attention to that chat. Make sure that you jot down Jyoti's email and phone number there. If you do have any follow-up questions that perhaps weren't able to get answered on today's session, you will have the ability to ask directly. Got just another minute or two here, so I want to try to get in a few more questions if we can. One question that came through here I really like, it says, are you keen to career changers?
Oh, Oh my gosh. Yeah. So transferable skills is everything. So I've worked with a lot of job seekers who perhaps are coming in. I know a few folks in mortgage, for example, I'll just give that example, where you're looking at contracts, you're working with clients and, related to those, maybe loan applications or other contracts for purchasing a home. But you actually can bring that experience to the agency because the agency has hundreds of different vendors, and there's actually compliance contract specialist roles, and that's going to be in our procurement department. So I always talk with job seekers about what were some of the transferable skills that you have in those roles, and how would you use them here in this new position and new environment. So I'm absolutely happy to have that conversation. I know the state of Illinois also has career counselors who go through those conversations with you. That's something that I'm happy to engage with you as well, because there's absolutely ways where you can look at your transferable skills through work activities and how they apply into this agency.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that response on that as well. And I think we've got time for maybe one more question here, and I think this is applicable to a lot of the roles you covered. Is there a minimum educational requirement for the positions that you covered here today? So in particular, this individual asks, is a GED required for the jobs in customer service?
Yes, so that is the minimum high school diploma or GED or equivalent for most of the roles. There are some positions that ask for some college I've seen, and then associates is really for the technical roles. Like we have a field technician, we're looking for electronic engineering, associate's degree curriculum. And then some of our engineering roles or even some of our HR roles, I have seen an associate's degree or bachelor's requirement. But for most of the roles, it is high school diploma or GED or equivalent. And then in lieu of, college preferred education, experience is also valid. So really just read through the job description, because that'll tell you exactly what education is needed.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And Jyoti, I want to make sure that we have a moment here just to allow you to give a summary statement, wrap up of today's session, maybe any key takeaways or points you want to highlight for folks that are on the line now and folks that will be tuning in on demand after the session has concluded.
Yes, absolutely. Just to emphasize appreciation. Thank you so much for being here and wanting to learn a little bit more about the agency's roles. I would say honestly, there's so much out there for the CMS interview structure. So if there's anything I could really push for you all today is really review the interviewing tips video that we have on our careers page. As well as I know that the state of Illinois has some great videos and webinars, because the CMS interview process is used by all state agencies. So please do take the time, because I know I covered a lot about applications and current opportunities, but the interview is what gets you the job. And so just make sure that you're comfortable with virtual interviews. You've got the STAR method, as basic as that is, STAR, situation, task, action, result. That's really going to help you increase your chances in getting employment through the Tollway, as well as with all other state agencies. Thank you so much, and I really do hope that you apply for opportunities.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation today. And of course, the transparency in answering all the questions that we were able to get to during the session here today. Just a few things I want to note, everyone. We have, again, recorded the session. We will be uploading it to the Illinois workNet YouTube channel within 48 hours of the conclusion of this event. So you will be able to access this session here to review any information that was covered here today. Also, we will be forwarding the information that you used to register for this event to our partners at the Job Center that helped to host this event, as well as Jyoti and her colleagues over at Illinois Tollway. With that, we want to thank everyone for attending today, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.